Dr. Zorblax of the VYRN Federation prided himself on being the most brilliant reproductive biologist in the entire galaxy. His 9 brains were always working in perfect harmony, calculating, analyzing, theorizing. He had personally dissected, cataloged, and classified the mating habits of every known species across 300 star systems, from the ice-burrowing Thrillians, who only reproduce once every 7 centuries under a triple solar eclipse, to the bloated grungle behemoths, whose females exploded after laying exactly 1 egg in their lifetime. Zorblax had seen it all, or so he thought. That was before he studied humans. The humans, a relatively new species on the interstellar scene, had barely been given observer status in the Galactic Federation. Mostly, they were considered quaint, hairy little bipeds from an insignificant blue planet, good at making loud music and inventing new ways to cook meat. But then came the fertility survey. The Federation required 1 every 1,000 years to keep track of population balances. Too few births, and a species might be given endangered status. Too many, and well, no one had ever hit too many, not in galactic history. Until now, Zorblax sat frozen in his lab, all 9 brains stuttering as the numbers came in. This can't be right, he muttered, his 3 mouths hanging open. His lab assistant, a gelatinous blob named MIP, oozed over to look at the holoscreen. Problem, doctor? MIP asked, voice bubbling. Zorblax pointed 1 trembling tentacle at the data. The humans, they're averaging how many offspring per mating pair? MIP squinted, or at least compressed a section of its goo into something resembling eyes. Is that 8? 8.2. Zorblax shrieked. 8.2 offspring per pair. That's before accounting for the ones that don't survive infancy. Do you know what the galactic average is? MIP wobbled. 2. 1.3. Zorblax wailed. 1.3. And humans are just making more humans every day. They don't even have mating seasons. They just keep going. The entire lab went silent except for the faint, ominous beeping of the fertility tracker. Finally, MIP whispered, Should we tell the council? Zorblax shuddered. Oh, they're not going to like this. Hashtag the emergency council meeting. 1 week later, the Galactic Council chamber was in uproar. Order! Screeched the council speaker, a feathery creature from Avior Prime. We will have order. But there was no order to be had. Representatives from 200 species were shouting over one another, waving tentacles, claws, and pseudopods as Zorblax tried to present his findings. This is impossible, boomed Ambassador Croft of the Crag Dominion, slamming his armored fist on the table so hard it dented the metal. No species can reproduce that quickly. It violates every principle of population dynamics. Zorblax twitched. I have the data right here. The humans' reproductive systems are, how do I put this? Asterisk, alarmingly efficient. Asterisk, they reach breeding age in less than 2 decades, remain fertile for decades more, and require no special environmental conditions for mating. None. No lunar alignments, no solar flares, not even ritual combat. They just do it whenever they feel like it. The entire chamber gasped. A diplomat from the Seraphel swarm raised a spindly limb. Are you saying they can reproduce year-round? With no restrictions? Zorblax slumped. Yes, and worse, they want to. Another collective gasp. Hashtag the reactions. The news hit the galaxy like a meteor storm. On VYRN News Network, anchors trembled as they reported humans, cute or catastrophic. Experts divided as fertility numbers skyrocket. On social media, the hashtag #EndlessHumans began trending after someone posted a vid of 2 humans smiling while holding triplets, with the caption, they multiply like space rats. Entire planets panicked. The insectoid Zekrif Empire closed its borders immediately. Terrified humans might sneak in and overwhelm them with sheer birth rates. The amphibious Glubglogs petitioned for mandatory human birth control across the Federation. Meanwhile, humans themselves seemed baffled by the fuss. Earth's ambassador, a cheerful man named Dave Peterson, blinked at the council hearing and said, Sorry? We didn't realize this was a problem. A problem? Shrieked Croft of the Crag Dominion. It's a population apocalypse waiting to happen. Dave shrugged. Hey, it's not like we're trying to take over the galaxy or anything. We just, like families. Zorblax fainted on the spot. Hashtag scientific curiosity turns to panic. As weeks passed, the situation only grew stranger. Other species sent research teams to Earth to study human fertility firsthand. What they found only made things worse. They don't just have one offspring at a time, reported Dr. Thrlo the Ice Moons. Sometimes they have two, or even three. The council chamber erupted again. Multiple births? Howled the Seraphel delegate. That's biological anarchy. And, Thrlo added in horror, they stay awake and care for the young even when sleep-deprived. For years, the room went silent. No other species would even consider raising offspring without at least a 5-year hibernation period between feedings. And get this, Thrlo continued, the young don't leave home for decades. The parents just keep feeding them, teaching them, sometimes forever. The entire council screamed in unison. Hashtag galactic overreaction. Soon, crackpot theories spread like wildfire. They're going to fill the galaxy by next Tuesday, cried one doomsday prophet on the holonet. Humanity is a biological weapon, claimed another conspiracy group. Wake up, sheeple. One paranoid planet even passed a law requiring all human visitors to wear reproductive dampeners, a humiliating belt-like device that did nothing but flash a red light if anyone hugged too long. Humans protested. Of course. This is ridiculous. Ambassador Dave groaned during yet another hearing. We're not an invasive species. Zorblax popped up, eyes twitching. You reproduce faster than the fungal plague of RYYK7. Hey! Dave pointed a finger. That plague wasn't our fault. Hashtag the final straw. The real chaos began when someone discovered humanity's latest invention, fertility treatments. You mean you're increasing your birth rates? On purpose. Zorblax shrieked during a live broadcast, his tentacles curling in existential dread. Dave grinned sheepishly. Well, yeah, some folks have trouble having kids, so we help them out. Zorblax made a sound like a dying goat and fainted again. Hashtag the hilarious resolution. Finally, after months of debate, the council passed the Human Population Management Treaty. It limited humans to certain colony planets and required regular fertility reports. Humans promptly ignored it. Within a century, they had outbred every species in 3 sectors, formed something called the United Human Worlds, and started selling T-shirts reading, *, most fertile in the galaxy and proud. *. Zorblax retired in despair, mumbling about endless pink bipeds, and why won't they stop multiplying? And somewhere on a distant colony, a human couple welcomed their 12th child, blissfully unaware that half the galaxy was still having panic attacks about them.